everybody, it's Bryan, and you are listening to the Course Building Secrets podcast. Whether you're a coach or a CEO, the success of your team and clients is based on your ability to deliver a consistent experience and guide them on the fastest path to results. This podcast will give you practical, real-life tips that you can use today to build your online experiences that get results and create raving fans. Why? So you can monetize your expertise and serve more people without adding more time or team to your business. If you're looking to uncover your $1 million framework, package it and use it to scale, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello, Course Launchers. I am so happy to be with you today. Hey, in this episode, I want to talk about participation and engagement in your beta program. All right. So when you're first starting out, we 100% recommend that when you're first doing your course for the very first time, that you do a beta, which means you're actually testing it with live humans before you go through and record all of it and do videos and do post-production and do all the things. So typically what happens is you are putting together your framework, you're determining like how you want to teach it to get to results, right? And then we work on your offer, we work on your sales pages, we work on, you selling your program and all the things. And then the big day comes and you have a bunch of people who are going to come in and take your program, and you're working with them live. So very quickly after the sales process, you need to go into guide mode, right? You're no longer the expert. You're no longer the one who has to prove your authority. What you need to do is when you go into your program, you need to think about how do you help people actually take action and implement the things that you're teaching. Because it's no longer about you. It's no longer about what you have done. It's no longer about what you know and about your expertise. It's all about your people and helping them get to the outcome or the transformation that you promised in the sales process, right? And so often when I'm working with people, this is one of the things that is the hardest thing for me to help people see is that it's not about you anymore. It's not about what you want to teach. It's not about all the things, right? It is 100% around your people and what they need. And so one of the best ways to get yourself in the frame of mind to be a guide and no longer the expert is to think about how to get people to participate in your beta. Because this is going to set the whole foundation for creating a whole virtual version of this later on. Because the key to courses that are successful are the ones that people actually get results with, right? Like they get the transformation, they get to the end, they get to the goal, they get to the milestone, whatever you want to call it. That is the differentiator between courses or programs that are successful, where you get raving fans and you get testimonials and you get referrals and you get all of those things, with the courses that do not, right? So where you create them and then it's crickets and nothing happens, or worse, people want refunds, right? Because they're not happy. All right. So here, listen up, because this is important. This is the biggest thing that you can do is think about if you have an hour that you have reserved for live teaching for your beta. I want you to think about at least half of that time is engaging and putting people in action, right? So what tends to happen, and I don't know if this is from the days of, lectures and education, and this, so it's just indoctrinated so darn, thoroughly in the old education system. But the tendency is to lecture, right? The tendency is I'm going to give you information. I'm going to open your head. I'm going to give you information. And then once you have this information, then maybe one day you'll go and do something with it, right? So think about the last thing that you were teaching, either a video you did, maybe you were doing a live Facebook training, or you were doing your beta or something else, or even recording your videos for your course. Okay, so here's the thing, is that we have a tendency to want to give everything, right? We want to give information. We want to talk all the time. And what happens is that it's not actually going anywhere, right? It's not there for application. And so when you're in that time, you have, say you have an hour, right? So I always sketch this kind of agenda out for people, and they're always amazed at how little time they actually have, right? So you're going to spend the first, 5 or 10 minutes either in sort of logistics, announcements, the teeing up where they're going, talking about what the session is about, answering questions, doing introductions, just all the sort of logistical things that you think of. Like for this, and this is, I always bring people back to this, right? So if you're in an actual room, so like, remember when we actually used to go to rooms? And so you're in a room and a bunch of people are coming in for the very first time. You have 20 people coming in for the very first time. What do? Right? You don't just like dive into what you're teaching. You go and you say hi to everyone when they are walking in the room. You say, well, here are the bathrooms, and here's this, and here's that, and here's this other thing, right? So there's this like sort of icebreaker logistics time. So you want to do that in a virtual environment. It's the very same thing, right? They're coming into a Zoom, they're coming into something else. And so think about, like, how do you want to introduce them? How do you want to introduce yourself? What kind of icebreaker do you want to have? And so most of the time when I'm starting a course lesson, if it's live, even if it's recorded, I'm starting with music. I'm starting with some energy, because that's what I want to bring in. And so people know that I'm just not going to lecture. I'm asking them to participate. I'm asking them to, show up and not be a passive participant in the process. And so that's like the first, 5 or 10 minutes maybe, that you are spending, depending upon how many people you have. If you have hundreds of people, you need to do that same level of personalization and icebreaker. Just you're going to do it on chat instead of letting people kind of, talk and do things in a live video environment, right? And so judge how many people you have in your beta, and you'll kind of figure that out. Do you want to give them access to their camera and their mic and have them introduce themselves, or do you want to do that in chat? But either way, you want to do that. Then you want to start with some sort of question, right? So here's what we're going to cover. Here's my question for you today. And it's an open-ended question that allows people to either reflect or give their opinion, or talk about, their intention, whatever you're teaching, right? Like it starts out with them. It starts out with putting them in a position where they are becoming an active participant. And so whatever question that is the first thing after all the logistics, right? You're going to dive into it. You're going to be like, this is the goal of the session. And then ask a question. And the question leads them then into participating for the whole rest of the time. Okay, so that's about 15 minutes. And then at the very, very end, you are going to save time for review and questions, and then to tee up the next section. So say that's like 10 minutes, right? So now all of a sudden you only have about 40 minutes tops if you're really efficient, right? Sometimes we're not very efficient and we let somebody like go off and talk for 5 minutes, right? But if you're really efficient, you have about 30 to 40 minutes of teaching time. Okay, so the beginning and the end are taken care of. So you have 40 minutes. In that 40 minutes, your goal is to get the one clear point across of what you want to teach. It's a model, it's a framework, it's something, right? Like, here is this step that I want you to take. Here's the, kind of the framework or the thinking model or the action model, whatever it is that you have. That's what you want to teach. And then you want to give them time, either in a workbook or in something, to actually work on it. right? So you can provide some laser coaching. You can provide some feedback. You can put them together so they're interacting together, maybe in chat or maybe live, where you're saying, okay, so, here's the main topic. Now take this topic and you apply that. You think about how that works in your life. Or if you're teaching a concept, okay, now, practice this concept, use your business, use your relationship, use your whatever, and then just sort of, reflect on that. So really you have 40 minutes of time to do that. And so you can see why you can't just dump a bunch of information at people and then say, okay, great. Now after this training, go and do the things. And because they're not going to do it, right? Because they don't know what to do. They have no skin in the game. And a lot of them are going to need some feedback. A lot of them are going to need you to sort of be there. Even if you're not answering questions, just being there helps them feel confident that what they're learning and applying is something that you can do. So there's all sorts of ways to, kind of beef that up. But when you think about it, the most important thing that you can do is help somebody take ownership of their learning and apply what they're learning, right? So when you have a clear framework, so often people just need to follow the steps. If they follow the steps, it will work. One of the biggest frustrations is people say, well, they're not following the steps. They're not doing what I'm telling them to do. Well, it's because you haven't provided them the room, the opportunity, or the space to take ownership of their learning. And the best way to do that is to focus on them, focus on their learning, and get them to participate and take action. And so that means that out of that 40 minutes, at least half of it is putting them in a position where they're participating. They're either part of a discussion, they're working on a problem, or they're doing an activity, right? They're, kind of completing something that you have them to complete, which then helps them move to the next spot. So don't feel like in your course, you have to always be talking. You have to always be sharing information. Value is not quantity of information that you're providing. Value is in the quality and ability to get them to take action. That, my friends, will be the biggest difference in you having a successful beta where people are engaged, wanting to show up and getting results, which in turn does all sorts of wonderful things for you, and with you struggling to keep moving forward. So try that out, see how it works. Really sketch out your agenda before you jump on that Zoom call. That's the other thing, 99% of my clients, when they come in, they don't have an agenda of how they're going to get through the content. And so they have so much, and then they're frustrated when they have to talk either really fast or, people are jumping off because they've gone too long. And so instead of saying, well, we really respect your time, we want to make sure that we're not going over, it's really just making sure that you're utilizing proper classroom management, or Zoom management, right, of time. And that becomes really important, not only for you to be able to get what you want out of the session, but also to stay in control of what's happening within the process. So there you go. That is my course building tip for today.
Hey, everybody. Are you a business owner ready to streamline and scale your business? Imagine solving the biggest business challenges with clarity, a strategy, and a clear plan. Hey, I'm Bryan, and I want to invite you to take the first step towards transforming your business with a free 30-minute discovery call. This call is an opportunity to discuss your goals, identify key challenges, and learn how my mentorship program can help you achieve the success you're aiming for. In just a half hour, we'll explore how you can scale your business by enhancing your authority strategy, engagement strategy, and retention strategy. You'll get personalized advice and a clear path forward. Ready to take the first step? Click on the link below that's in the show notes to book your free discovery call now. I hope to talk to you soon.